Alrighty guys, here's one of the projects. I bought this Commercial 8 at the 2017 Moen. Well, I see where the fuel's leaking now, but anyhow. I bought this Commercial 8 at the 2017 Moen. It had a stuck valve. I got it running, had spark and everything. I can't remember if I cleaned the points then or not. I probably did. And pretty much I used it a year or two, parked in the building, went to go and start it, wouldn't start. I found it's got no or very weak spark whenever I tried it. So I'm going to get into that, and I put a little bit of gas in it before I turn the camera on, and I see it's dripping hopefully out of the hose there. So let me tighten that up, see if that stops the leak, and then we'll go into troubleshooting the spark here. Okay, hopefully you guys will be able to see that, but it's got weak or very little spark. You guys see it any better there? Maybe. But it's got weak spark. See, that time it had no spark. So I'm thinking it's the points. At least that's going to be my initial. See, it had no spark that time. The ground wire is not touching anywhere near as I can tell for the coil. So we're going to get into the points. John, this isn't terrible. It's right there. And we'll clean them up and see if that helps or cause any. I would love for all this red paint to fall off this thing. This should be yellow and white, just so everybody knows. And I think this is a 1970 Commercial 8, if I remember correctly. So, okay, let me get into them points and we'll go from there. So there's some telltale signs of moisture in here behind the points cover, which this thing is sitting in a tank garage on a gravel floor, so, you know, very possible. But when I look at the points here, I don't know if I can get you guys in to see, but I think you guys can kind of see the ring of crud there. Yeah, that's enough to make this thing not spark right. So, take the trusty sandpaper here and file that down a little bit. But while I'm down here, see what you do is a tractor like this that's been painted over. Every time you sit here, you start picking at it a little bit more, and a little bit more of that yellow comes out every time. Like down here in the engine block, it'll actually peel off pretty good if you get a. You just got to be careful, because see, you end up taking more of the yellow than you do any good. You kind of. Takes a long time. You can do it with a wire brush, but you can still do the same thing with a wire brush. You end up taking more of the original paint when you're trying to get this red paint off. So that's why you'll see a lot of guys not monkey with these or do total restorations or repaints. Like there's a good bit of paint coming off. That's why it always pays. Every time you sit down, just kind of tinker with a couple spots on here, because a little bit more of that yellow sticks out. A little bit happier I'll be with the machine. I would love to go through and repaint and restore every single machine I have, but that's just not financially possible. You know, so anyhow, let me clean these points and then we'll see what kind of spark we have. I'm also going to look, this recoil starter just doesn't seem like it's bolted on very well, but there's definitely 2 bolts in over here, so I'll have to look on the far side and see what's going on. Okay, hopefully you guys will be able to see that, but it looks like we got decent spark now. Well, at least it did the one time I pulled it. Yeah, it's definitely got spark now. That is the first time it has fired. Now, I put some gas in it yesterday, trying to get it to run, and it has already popped on that. Very good. It'd be nice if this points cover had the little rubber grommet in the corner there. I think you guys are in frame. Yeah. But it doesn't. So, for right now, I'm just going to put it back together the way it is, and I'll have to either get a little point plunger. I gotta clean it out too, while there's rust in it. Or not a points plunger, darn it. A rubber grommet for in the points cover, and we'll go from there. And I might actually try and get some of the pink red paint off of this too. I should have done this before I turn the camera on, but before I go and run this thing for a while. Foil's full. I probably changed it when I got it. I don't remember. I have so many tractors, guys, that I'll be honest, I don't remember. I kind of just look at the oil. Looks like it needs changed. I'll change it while it's in the shop probably and move on. Transmission is a little low on oil, but I just kind of want to hear it run. And off camera, the carb did start leaking through once I pulled it over and it fired once, so I shut the fuel off. So let's see what it does. There was a bolt missing out of the recoil on the far side, so I put another bolt in it. We'll see how that goes. And it sounds like that bolt's hitting. Yep. Alright, let me put a washer under that bolt. Okay, well, let's see what it sounds like. Okay, it's not hitting anymore. Exactly where I want it. Alright, now let's see what it'll run. With that. At least it starts and runs now, so just goes to show you guys, just because you have an old tractor and got it running, you know, don't think you ever won't have to work on it again. Because, oh, you definitely do. You definitely do. So, this thing may go into service here and mow some leaves. These 8 horsepowers are kind of nice. They're nice, they're light, they're nimble. They're fairly quiet as well. I have one the muffler is blown out on, Wally, the 526, and it's still not really loud. So, alright, fellas. Well, before I take this thing back to work, apparently I swiped the air filter out of it for something. Or I lost it. I mean, that's definitely a possibility too. I go back over and look around where this thing was sitting at. But I'm pretty sure I remember borrowing the air filter, so look around. There might actually be one in the 5240 box. I'll see if there is one in there or not. But anyhow, guys, I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but my paint picking off camera there, more yellow there, dashboard. So it pays to do that. I'm gonna have to work on the recoil bolts some more, but good to go. Back in the service again. So on to the next one. This one, I don't know if it's going to be as easy. This is the 8816G that I've had for a couple years, 4 or 5 years anyhow. I got no fuel from the tank back to the carburator. But if you feed the fuel at the fuel filter down, which is actually how I drove it in here, it'll run. So that's going to be the next project. Later, guys. Alright guys, a little before lunch update here. I did find an air filter for that. There was one in that toolbox like I thought. And I don't know if you guys will be able to tell, but I've had the wire wheel on the drill out here. And the chrome and everything on here has cleaned up rather nice. And this is just wire wheeling it, no chrome polish, no nothing. Actually, I think I probably missed that spot. But regardless, you know, it's little things. Makes you feel better about it. But yeah, just clean her up a little bit at a time, and you can see all the red paint I got off down there, I think. Maybe. Now you can for sure. So, if it ever quits raining, which maybe you guys can hear it, but here's the reason I haven't got a lot done in the last couple of days and weeks. It's just been kind of rainy and dreary. So, just keep shuffling some projects in the shop when it's not raining for a couple minutes, and if it ever dries out, we'll actually mow with them. So, like I said, I think that's going to be it for this one, guys. Catch everybody in the next one. Later. Maybe do video all my 8 horsepower machines. That'd be something cool. I want to compare the 12Gs. If I get them both to run. Running pretty decent. I had to adjust the carb just a smidge there, but seems like it's working. So anyhow, I'm gonna go out and get this thing warm. Transmission oil looks like it has a little bit of moisture in it, so we'll get it good and warm here for a while and go from there. So, later, guys. Daily carb work is in my future. So I've been running the commercial 8 for a while, and I come back out here after lunch and went to start it. Hopefully you guys can hear, but the float is full of gas. That would explain why I kept flooding out. So, I'm going to see if I got another float floating around here. Haha, funny. Let's see what you did there, Steve. I didn't mean it. Alright, anyhow, see if I got another float floating around, and if I put another float in this thing, maybe it'll run good, and maybe that's been its problem all these years. One of its problems. They don't look terrible. I'm sure there's probably a little hole in the solder somewhere, but yeah, explains why it would work good, then it wouldn't work good, and the more you ran it, the worse it got, blah blah blah. So anyhow, I'm gonna go look around for a float, and I'll be back. Okay, so dug around my stash and I found one. And it's not a brand new float, and I see it's got this little crimple in the side, actually now. So, well, it's not full of gas like the one that's on there, so all I can do is send it. But, I would order some of these, because it's not like I don't have at least 20 or 30 motors that use this float. I think the 6s through the 8s use these, and the 10s, 12s, 14s, 16s, twins, 16s, 18 single, 18 twins, 20 horsepower twins, I think all use these floats. So, I'm going to order up 2 or 3 of them just to have on the shelf sort of deal. I know I got condensers and I got points out of my ass. Carburetor parts, I have carb kits, but not floats. And I have definitely seen at least 6 of these go bad in probably that many years. So we'll stick this back in here and see if we can't get this thing to float and not flood. Yeah? You like that? Okay, let me do that, see what happens. Seems okay thus far. Might have to readjust the carb because it's not flooding. Didn't take too much, but it's a lot better. That seems a lot better. I see there's a little bit of wetness here, but it's a whole lot better than gas just pouring out of this thing like it was, so see how it goes.